Who nukes their own city?
Well, hello there. It's me Ted, and this time up it's the Tech TV 101 review for Killzone 3 on the PlayStation 3. The game has its flaws, but like a supermodel with bedhead and a great personality, you can overlook these minor details in order to enjoy a fantastic overall package. I won't try to convince anyone that the single-player campaign is the best thing ever, but it is good. The story is somewhat non-existent in some parts, as the game relies on the setting to help push the game forward. The length of the missions is a touch on the short side as well, but when paired with a fiendishly addictive and fun multiplayer, Killzone 3 is simply the best game of the year so far. The PlayStation 3 seems to just now be hitting its stride. After 4 years, the system is easing into a groove, and developers are finding new ways to push the hardware further and further. Killzone 3 is an example of that, and the graphics are nothing short of stunning. There are a few technical hiccups, like the occasional freeze, which can take you right out of the moment, but in general the game will impress you on several levels. If you have not played the previous Killzone titles, Killzone 3 is still worth the purchase, but the story will fall a bit flat for you. Actually, even people that played the previous titles might think it falls flat for that matter, but knowing the history of the conflict makes the interactions more interesting. It isn't that the story to Killzone 3 is bad, it's just that there isn't much of it. If you missed the previous games, or you have just forgotten them over the years, the story began on the PlayStation 2, when the Hellcast Empire attacked the Interstellar Alliance-controlled planet of Vecta. Not to put too fine a point on it, but the ISA is basically the Allies, and the Hellcast are basically Nazis, albeit space Nazis with spooky helmets. The Hellcast people fought and lost a previous war against the ISA, and like the Germans following World War I, they suffered horribly in the armistice. Forced to remain on the inhospitable world of Helgen, the people mutated away from human physiology. They looked roughly the same, but became stronger and faster, which biologically meant that they were no longer human. And they were none too pleased about it. Killzone 3 picks up immediately where the previous game ended, with Sev sitting on the steps outside the Capitol building, and things looking bleak as the remnants of the Hellcast move in. From that cheerful start, you are instantly thrust into combat and you never look back. The gameplay in Killzone 3 remains true to the previous games. Some will enjoy it, others won't, but it does what the developers intended it to do. The game will constantly have you in combat zones that range from urban cities to orbital space stations, and each level will challenge you. If you fly through the game, you can beat it quickly, maybe 7 hours or less, at least in theory, but you will probably die a bunch in this game. Sometimes it is almost unavoidable, as enemies will attack you from angles you won't realize are there until you catch a grenade. The increased difficulty should add a few hours to the title. There is also the help you receive from your teammates. Sometimes when you fall in battle, your teammate will run to you and bring you back. Sometimes they will see something shiny and run after it, delightedly swatting at bullets like butterflies, leaving you to slowly waste away until you die. Perhaps it is simply a matter of your teammates having a fetish for bullets, so much so that they will seemingly jealously keep their own away from enemies and miss them with every shot, while they themselves will try to catch as many as possible with their bodies, forcing you to either listen to their agonized cries or to risk breaking cover to rescue them. For some reason, Rico seems especially susceptible to catching a case of death, which is oddly satisfying after his continued annoyances of previous games. I may or may not have shot him myself a few dozen times. But beyond the minor quibbles, the game plays smoothly, and Guerrilla obviously spent a lot of time on the pacing. Killzone 3 can quickly go from 0 to insane at the drop of the hat, but you will always have a few moments to collect yourself before the next round of attacks. There are also a handful of vehicle-based sections, including jetpacks, which are nicely placed and make for a fun bit of variety. The weapon selection, however, is somewhat limited, and there are not many additions from the previous games. Most of the time you will be stuck with either a Hellcast or an ISA assault rifle, which is fine but become boring. There is also the return of the one-slot weapon, meaning that if you want a rifle, you have to replace your current rifle. You can't dump your pistol to carry two rifles. With ammo being scarce at times, this is odd, but if you have played the series, you should be used to it by now. There is also a co-op split-screen offering, yet oddly no online co-op, that lets you play through with a friend. Killzone 3 is designed to be played as a single-player experience, but the co-op should offer some nice replay options. Basically, the only real complaint about the gameplay, minus the death-happy teammates, is that I wish there had been more of everything, and that is the best complaint you can level at a game. While the campaign will attract many to the game, the multiplayer will keep them coming back for more. If you played the multiplayer on Killzone 2, you will be familiar with the setup, although Killzone 3 does offer more. If you aren't familiar with the style, the Killzone 3 multiplayer is a fairly fresh take on online combat. If there needs to be a comparison drawn, it is closer to the Battlefield Bad Company 2 setup than Call of Duty's multiplayer. Although the year is young, Killzone 3 has already made a strong push for the Game of the Year honors, and any game that can knock it off the throne will be a game worth playing. It is still far too early to really say it is the best game of the year, but it has earned the right to be part of the discussion when the time comes. There is also the inclusion of the move controls, which are designed to be used with the sharpshooter rifle peripheral, and the game is also designed for 3D. You don't need any of that to enjoy the game, but it might offer some replay value down the line if you decide to upgrade. Having seen the 3D play, Killzone 3 is an interesting and well-designed game to utilize the technology, although again, it's nothing you'll regret not having if you're part of the vast majority and have not bought a 3D TV. The campaign is a bit short, and the plot is on the thin side, but the level design keeps you excited to see what will come next, plus the combat is expertly paced. The odd loading freezes the game at inopportune moments, but the number of times is easy to overlook. Overall, the game offers a satisfying experience. But what really makes Killzone 3 worth the lofty Game of the Year mentions is the multiplayer that comes with it. Both the multiplayer and the campaign are solid offerings on their own, and together they make for an exceptional package. Throw in the fact that the game is amazing to look at and provides a suitably epic feel at times, and Killzone 3 is a must-own for FPS fans on the PS3. See ya next time.